Hey everyone, it's Mike. During this video, I'm going to talk about Wellbutrin, also known as Bupropion. I've been taking it consistently now for about 13 months. My total experience is 2 years on it, and I do see myself as considerably knowledgeable with this drug. I've taken it for a long time, I've researched it in depth, and I've answered a lot of questions for it, as well as looked at the common concerns regarding side effects. So let this video be your guide. I'm going to talk about the benefits, the dosages, my personal experience, and address some of the side effects. So let's see you soon. Just to give you an idea as far as what the pill looks like. And this is what the 300 milligram XL looks like. And then this is the other version. This is the SR 150 milligram tablets. This is 150 milligrams. It's very, very small, just a tablet. So for those of you who find it challenging to consume tablets or supplements, this you'll find very, very easy. Just take one right in the morning. So what Wellbutrin is most commonly prescribed for is for depression, anti-anxiety, and even seasonal affective disorder, which again is still encompassed under the category of mood. And that's been my experience. I originally took it back 6 years ago to get out of a depressive state. It was sometime last year, November 2018, when I noticed some of those effects were there. I was noticing I was a little bit lethargic, sleeping a little bit more than usual, a little bit of lost interest in things which typically interest me, which is a really good sign of depression. It's called anhedonia. And I used Wellbutrin as a tool back then. It was my experience that I went on the 150 milligrams of the SR, the sustained release. I didn't like it. Although the doctor was telling me to be patient and give it a few weeks, it was just such that it felt very uncomfortable. My heart was beating rapidly, faster than normal, which made it very uncomfortable to work out because I lift, I like doing high intensity interval training, which is naturally going to raise your heart rate quite a bit. I noticed getting off of the SR, the 150 milligrams SR, and getting onto the extended release really did help me a lot, particularly when I went to 300 milligrams. The sustained release, it just hits you very quickly. I mean, if you look at the graph, like the peak is really early, even within a few hours, and then it slowly just tapers off. So you do feel with the SR a little bit more like an elevated feeling and then a little bit of a crash, whereas the XL, you really just don't notice even when it's at its peak, which is a good sign that it's naturally raising your energy pretty much throughout the whole day. So one of the first things you'll notice, even before the mood enhancement effects kick in, is more energy. You should really immediately feel like a little bit more focus, a little bit more ease in terms of getting to activities which will typically stress you out. That's what makes it powerful as a nootropic and why it could be useful for anybody who's maybe in like a slump in their life, who's maybe lost a little bit of drive, a little bit ambition, a little bit too foggy in terms of like brain fog or just unclear thinking. You'll feel like a more energetic and ambitious version of yourself. I'm somebody that loves exercising. I love reading about bodybuilding, and anything which could naturally make me fatter or make me hungrier or somehow negatively affect my body composition is not going to interest me. And I tried a number of different antidepressants, but I read about this particular drug, and that was one of the reasons why it interested me, is that there was no real side effects of weight gain. If anything, there was a side effect of a little bit less hunger. But overall, I really like the stuff. It hasn't negatively affected me in terms of sex drive, loss of sleep, overly stimulated. If you're questioning whether or not you're in a depressive state or you're just in a bad period of your life and you need to just get things going again and back on track, you really do feel like a normal version of yourself. I know a lot of people seem to like avoiding taking drugs and taking, of course, antidepressants, and I'm all for that and I completely agree. However, if this is going to help you be your best self, then why not just try it? This is not something like thyroid medication that I plan on being on forever. However, it's been about 13 months and I'm liking it. I don't now even take it every single day, but we'll talk about that later. So what I'm doing is I'm taking 300 milligrams XL every single morning, and I typically won't take it anywhere close to night, as it'll definitely keep me up, as I'm somebody that does have a pretty low tolerance when it comes to stimulants, and you'll find it pretty stimulating. So I'd recommend that if you do take it, have it once in the morning, and then that's the extended release. If you're taking the sustained release, then the doctors would naturally prescribe you to take it once in the early morning and then once later in the afternoon, maybe like a 7 or 8 hour break, and therefore it's not going to interfere with your sleep, but you are getting a good gap between both dosages. But I really, really do recommend that you do check out the XL. I don't know why any doctor would prescribe the SR. It's not been my experience that it's been good. Yes, it's good that it's a small dose of 150 milligrams, but you really do feel that effect of like your heart elevating, kind of like uncomfortably stimulated. Your appetite seems very suppressed for a few hours. So all the signs that it's just working for a very condensed period of time. So if you're not noticing a benefit from the SR, then try the XL and of course give it a few weeks. Otherwise, really no interactions you should be aware of as far as mixing it with other supplements. I've tried mixing it with pretty darn strong stuff. My thyroid medication, of course. I've tried it with modafinil. I've tried it with phenylpiracetam. I've tried it with modafinil and phenylpiracetam. The only thing I notice is when you take it with other supplements that may, again, uncomfortably raise your heart rate, that is where you should be a bit careful. Or the one supplement which I take to really enhance fat loss and work on stubborn body fat as well as just elicit like a euphoria is yohimbine HCl. I take it by Primaforce. And even a low dose of yohimbine, something as small as like 2.5 milligrams, which is a very low dose, I am very uncomfortable, so that is one particular instance where I do not like to mix these two. So that is one particular instance where I would recommend that you do really be careful when it comes to mixing it with other things, but of course consult with your doctor about that. I'm not a doctor, I'm just somebody that reviews nootropics and people seem to like it. So I'll go over some commonly asked questions as I have addressed this in previous videos. Muffenberg, which I pretty much answered, how do other stimulants go well with Wellbutrin like modafinil, racetams, Adderall, Ritalin? Adderall, Ritalin, is it possible to take them together? So I've addressed that, although with the racetams, of course, you'll not find that stimulating. So racetams are very, very effective and they will not interfere, and I've not noticed that has compromised the effectiveness of any of the racetams or other nootropics, which is something to be mindful of. I'll notice, for instance, if I'm taking modafinil or if I'm taking like phenylpiracetam, they will be so stimulating that they overpower the rest of my stack. If I'm taking like adaptogens or if I'm taking things like Noopept or even piracetam, I hardly notice them working because, again, the modafinil or the phenylpiracetam, again, just overpowers everything. Then the comment by Justin Thomas at the bottom saying, do you think starting with 300 milligrams XL bupropion is a bad idea, or should you start with 150 milligrams extended release and then start taking 2 in the morning after a week or so? I mean, if you have the 150 milligrams in your possession, then I would definitely start off with that. This is a drug. It's pretty strong stuff. For me, it's not that strong. It's pretty subtle. However, you never know how your body's going to react to things. So I would definitely recommend just take a lower dose for a short period of time. I mean, even if it's a few days or a week, what is there really to lose? I mean, unless you're that person who's like severely depressed, then you should be probably in the hospital or something to avoid hurting yourself. But that would be my recommendation. Start off with 150 milligrams. It doesn't matter whether or not it's sustained release or extended release, and then jump up to the 300 milligrams. Of course, consult with your doctor before doing so. Then we have another comment here I'd like to address. I've been on Wellbutrin for 4 days now. How many days or weeks did it take you for results? Doctor tells me a couple of weeks for early results. I've addressed this in the beginning portion of the video, but yeah, give it about a few weeks for the mood enhancing effects to start kicking in. If you notice like a lower number of thoughts and a lot less negative self-talk, then you're instantly gonna know that it's working. And if you find that you're naturally more encouraged to do jobs like somewhat related to your career, whether it's studying more, whether it's working more at your job, then again, that's a sign that Wellbutrin is working, because I notice I kind of neglect other things to some extent when I'm on it, and I'm really just focused on my ambitions and what I want to do and what I want to achieve and just help a lot of people out there. However, I would say when it comes to appetite suppression, I would say when it comes to things like focus and feeling like a little bit more energetic, I notice the results personally within about a week, maybe like 3 or 4 days. Then we have a comment from Kay Taylor who says, I just started and feel more positive about this after watching this, but I noticed a lot of people are saying they've lost weight, which I really don't need. I need to gain some weight. I mean, this is not, for me, it's not even a concern. I don't see it as something for weight loss or for weight gain. It's not really affected my appetite. I mean, sometimes it does, but it's negligible. I think it's really easy just to get fat on it, and it's easy to get thin on it if you choose to. That all comes down to calorie surplus, calorie deficit. But it's, as somebody who typically gets hungry at night, just like most people, I've not noticed that Wellbutrin really does affect it that way. I do have a refeed day once per week where I ingest more carbohydrates than typically, and on that day I do not take my Wellbutrin just because I want to be as hungry as I can get, and I don't want anything to compromise my hunger. But I'll even be careful when it comes to things like water intake that day, and I'll drink a little bit less water. I'm still playing around with that. I'm really not sure if Wellbutrin helps or hurts your appetite or really does anything to it, so I can get back to you on that later. But I mean, if it does affect it, maybe 5 to 10%. There's some studies showing that it has helped people lose weight in a beneficial way, but they were obese, and the obese person is obviously going to find it a lot more easier to lose weight versus somebody who's just at their normal BMI, let's say. So Kay Taylor, I wouldn't be concerned. If anything, just give it a shot first. Again, the pros are going to outweigh the cons, especially if you're taking it for depression or something mood related. Next comment, Mintside says, did you get any negative side effects? If so, which ones, and did they go away? One other thing that's, I noticed like a little bit more anxiety, but it's not too significant. Like one thing particularly is I seem to like pick my nails sometimes when I'm talking and when I'm just a little bit nervous or anxious. And I notice I'm doing that a little bit more, but it's not that significant. I'm really trying to find any side effect possible because I'm trying to convince myself to not stay on this stuff. But again, I just feel like a more energetic and pretty much happier version of my normal self. So I'm like looking all the time, what are the side effects? And then I'm constantly taking days on and off just to really understand that, because I want to be off it within the next 3 to 4 months. But to answer your question, I mean, there's no negative side effects for me. Which leads to our next comment. Have you, from Powerful Fist, have you felt any sexual dysfunction while using this drug? Nope, none at all. Hasn't really affected my sex drive positively or negatively. I pretty much feel the same, and my sex drive is decent. I feel like my testosterone levels are good and no complaints there. Reincarnation Vibe asks, how about sleep? Not affected me. Again, I would recommend that you do not take this anywhere within like 10 hours of sleeping. I have not tried taking it and sleeping afterwards, but there's really no need to try something like that. I really hope you found all this information helpful. If you're somebody that takes Wellbutrin, then please do comment, share your experience as well. Definitely share that other people can benefit from that. Leave your questions. I try to respond to all of them within about 24 hours. Don't forget to click like or click dislike. I don't mind. Make sure to subscribe. And hey, it really helps the channel if you do share it with anyone else that you know that may find the information helpful. So that's Wellbutrin. I like it a lot. It's one of a kind. It's really special, and it's something that is definitely different than the rest of the nootropics or other drugs that I've tried, and I think I've tried a good number. I'll look forward to seeing you all next time.